Building off of yesterday's video about how I've been in an energy of just sheer uncomfortable ridiculousness. This morning, I wake up with deep sadness. I love how I laugh about it. Deep sadness, loneliness, and at the same time, a very grounded presence where it's like, I don't know why I'm so sad today, but it's okay, you know? And then you move through the sadness and you say things to yourself that you need to hear and you cry. And then after that passes, you realize again just how ridiculous all of this is. I mean, guys, like, eternity. It's just like, we've been doing this stuff forever. How many times have I gone into an experience where I didn't remember who I was and I had to wake up and I go through all this craziness? It's absolute insanity. And then going, and it's not even so much that that's crazy. It is, but it's not. But it's like when you're going through all of your own distortions, because, you know, anywhere where you are limiting yourself, anywhere where you are afraid to be all that you are, anywhere where you are really hard on yourself, anywhere where you're afraid that you're not gonna have enough support or that you're not safe to make choices and show up in the world in all the fullness of who you are, you know? It's like going through all those distortions makes you feel insane. And trying to hold it all together is kind of impossible. You really can't. You have to break apart. You have to fall apart to let your heart break apart, to let your mind break apart, because it was built for so many years on a very unsteady foundation, you know? It was built on so many distortions about yourself, about how you're perceived, about how others see you. I mean, legitimately, there were times, you know, and I think all of us have experienced this to some degree, or are living in it right now even, where we think everybody finds us incredibly annoying, or where people think we're really unattractive, or people don't think we're all there, or that we're intelligent, or that we have, you know, I mean, we project all of our own fears and insecurities onto what other people might be thinking. And the truth is, I think we pick a lot of this up because other people are thinking the same things. You know, everyone is not everyone, most people are very insecure. And we don't like feeling it. And so we put up the facades, we put up the masks, and we try to pretend everything's okay, because when we admit or show that things aren't okay, it hasn't been received well in our past at different times. And it's just, all of it is absolutely and utterly crazy. It's just all of life, and everyone's afraid to be crazy or go crazy or lose their mind. And it's like, you don't realize that that's part of the process of waking up into love, because fear has to be felt and processed, and distortions have to be looked at and seen through. And so that process inevitably is very messy. There's nothing you can do about it. If you want to return to oneness, if you want to see through duality, if you want to have eyes to see and ears to hear and embrace the healing of your soul, your mind, your body, your heart, you have to be willing to break down and fall apart. You have to be willing to try again. You have to be willing to look in the places that trigger you the most, because those are the activations. Those are where we're pulling this distortion out of you. And for me, just sharing very vulnerably. I don't know why I feel so vulnerable to share these things, but what has always been such a dream of mine was just having a beautiful partner inside and out who is just so like loving and sweet, and I've always gravitated toward women, but I've always felt very unworthy, and had tons of distortions regarding this. And so when I got divorced a couple of years ago, I've been single this whole time. I haven't gone out with anyone. I haven't been on a date even. None of that. It's like I've literally just been going through all these distortions, but I've had the reflections that I've needed during that time that absolutely triggered everything. And of course, all the triggers are activations, because they're activating an energy that's already in you. And if it's very triggering, jarring, scary, painful, whatever it is, that means that there is a strong distortion there. And so for the last year, I've been looking into the mirror, which is my mirror, the mirror I asked for. I asked God for my mirror, my twin, my counterpart, and I needed her to purge all these distortions, to pull them out so that I could remember and reclaim all these parts of myself that I have absolutely not been seeing through the eyes of love for years, about myself, about love in general, about relationships, about how to treat myself, about how to value myself, about how to truly value a woman who is in her power, to see the godliness in her, the goddess in her, to see the divine in her, and to honor that, and to learn how to respect that. And so much of this is just, it triggers just all the darkness in you, all the things that you haven't wanted to look at, all of the jealousies and the insecurities and the envy and the lust even, and just everything, and to look at everything and to see it with new eyes it's difficult and incredibly enlightening. And it's helped me believe in myself more than I ever thought that I could. It's helped me remember these different sides of me, these deep soul aspects of me that feel so empowering and authentic, and at the same time very vulnerable. And I've had to learn how to not get lost in doubt and fear and insecurities. I've had to learn how to become aware of them and sit with them and feel them, and then transform them by literally just surrendering to God. Like you go into something that's really painful and you're like, I don't know what to do here. I have no idea. I have no idea. It's extremely uncomfortable. I know that I'm not seeing things clearly. But I have to sit here with this, and I have to trust. And I have to allow God to show me what needs to be looked at, and to let God move the energies through me so that I can feel them and I can process them and I can learn to hold space for them and love them. And on the other end of that process comes peace, revelations, epiphanies, wisdom, new perspectives. Because there is truly nothing to be afraid of. All of our distortions, every single one of our insecurities, everything that we withhold from ourselves, every part of ourselves that we have been either unaware of or that we actively don't want to look at, there is nothing to be afraid of, because it's all distortion, it's all illusion. When you see things clearly, when you see things through the eyes of oneness, through unconditional and expansive and infinite love, there are perspectives for everything. There hasn't been one thing that I've looked at in several years of deep shadow work that did not end up having a more loving perspective and experience for me on the other end of the work. And going deeper means we have to build more resilience, more courage, stronger discernment. Discernment is, I've stressed this in other videos. I can't stress it enough. Discernment and standing up to certain illusions and fears and doubts. Like, you really do have to get to a point where I'm no longer going to tolerate myself going into doubts and fears and staying there and beating myself up relentlessly while going through it. Eventually, you realize that you can look at the things from a more observer place once you've sort of eased your way into this. But eventually, you can get so used to going into the discomfort that you end up staying in it longer than you need to, because you don't want to miss anything. You're like, you get used to being courageous and going into it, and then you kind of, in a way, develop maybe an unhealthy attachment to it because it's what you become used to. And you know that it's always serving you, but at a certain point, you realize that you really just needed to develop the resilience to embrace the discomfort. And now it's time to stop tolerating these tangents of doubt and fear, and realize that I can feel all of this and I can manage my mind and stay present. And I don't have to let this story run. I can just be aware that it was there and it used to be true for me and it's not anymore, because it was never based in truth. I never needed to believe in that. I just thought that I did. And because I thought that I did, I developed an unhealthy relationship with that particular energy, and it became disharmonious and painful to me. But as I look at the illusion, as I look at the story, and I realize it was never true, now I have the opportunity to say, I'm done with that story. Every time it comes up, I will stand up to it. It is not my truth. And whatever uncomfortable feelings are there, I will feel them. I will feel them, and I will have compassion and forgiveness and understanding and humility, and I will trust God that these energies are being transformed from this illusory, painful, distorted perspective into the loving, healing, comforting energy that it was always meant to be. Because all the energies are God, our source, are one, just to different degrees. And none of the energies are inherently bad, but our relationship to them can be painful and detrimental until we heal them. And that's what, in this awakening journey, this mass awakening that is happening, those who are becoming more aware, those who are anchoring the light, those who are healing and helping others heal, we are slowly transforming humanity's consciousness from one filled with fears and distortions into one that embraces oneness again and becomes harmonious. And that is going to take time, but there is a divine plan playing out. None of us have to be the savior. None of us have to play. We don't have to, it doesn't have to be heavy. Your experience of this isn't meant to be heavy. Your mission isn't meant to be heavy. If you are, like I was, creating a purpose or trying to align with a mission and mission work that didn't really feel aligned, but I thought I was being called to it, but it felt heavy and I didn't really want to do that, at least not at this point in my life, that's where discernment really comes in. Like, you're not being asked to live a life that feels impossible to you. I mean, you may have dreams that feel impossible to you right now, and you should definitely be open to them and realize that they were given to you for a reason. But right now, what aligns is going to be something that just feels right in your core. And maybe you have some distortions and some illusions preventing you from, or that feel like they're preventing you from stepping into that. But when we face those illusions and distortions and we decide, I'm not going to I'm just not going to tolerate it anymore. It's not my truth. And I'm going to choose to trust and surrender here. That's when those things really do stop having power over you. We live in a quantum reality of infinite possibilities. Everything, all form, is just coming out of the mind of the all. That's, everything is God. Everything is the one infinite eternal source. Everything is consciousness and energy. Everything is divine intelligence. Everything is made of divine intelligence. Every part is playing its part, its role. And it's okay for us to just remember. Remember that in this moment, everything really is okay. Everything really is happening for you and your highest good and the highest good of all. And we're all just waking up and learning. Even those of us who are very awakened are still learning. Those of us who are not awakened really at all are just learning. Every soul is on their own unique part of the journey, and there is a wide range of that journey being experienced here. There is a wide range of consciousness and realities being explored here. Far more diverse than we can even truly fathom from this particular space. If we really were aware of all the different experiences and states of consciousness and dimensions that were being experienced here by all all of the beings who are in this particular time space reality at this moment. If we knew that, it would be mind-blowing, and we would see how absolutely magical and mystical existence is. It would be very clear. And that's a beautiful thing to ponder. It really is. We are much more limitless than we realize, but we are only scratching the very surface of it. The tip of the iceberg. You know? It's like there's just so much more to what is possible for humanity and for any of us who are willing to truly embrace the fullness of God, the allness, the oneness, and to work with our higher self to embody more of our beautiful, limitless self while embodied here. And that's a gift. It's a gift that this journey even exists, that you can embrace your evolution while you're here, that you can transform everything. It's an absolute gift. If you're looking for mentorship or even powerful plant medicine ceremonies to transform your experience and embrace more of your magic and mysticalness, there's a link in the description. Much love.